Hey everybody, Steve Burns here. So we are making progress. We started this class off by getting inspired by looking at other people's work on the website. We went into Photoshop. We designed it in Photoshop to give it the look and feel that we wanted our particular website to reflect. And then we've learned how to take it from Photoshop into Dreamweaver so that we can customize it. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to optimize your website for search engine optimization for the web. So in other words, you want your website to be number one. You don't want to be number two. You don't want to be number three. You want it to be number one. So we're going to study some of the habits of SEO or search engine optimization. Okay, now just a little bit of an FYI. Let's go over to the internet real quick. I found a site here, and this site actually is free. It's if you wanted to download any images in HDR format, you can come here and search HDRI. So if you want to download images of backgrounds that are panoramics, as well as high dynamic range in terms of color and tonal information, that can all be done here. So the reason I brought this up is that if you scour the internet to learn better, how other people are designing their sites, then I'm currently using a browser called Opera, but this is going to be consistent in all of your browsers. If you right click, and I'm going to start with Opera, and then I'm going to go over to Firefox. If I right click, right down here in the bottom, we have what's called Inspect Elements, okay, or Inspect Source. If I click it, right on the right hand side, it's giving me the HTML of this website, okay. And you can see it highlight in the page, okay? Image banners, here are my various images, the header, the nav bar, and you can see here are all your division classifications here. So as I mouse over any of the div, it will actually place me visually where that information is being located. And then right down here is giving you information about the size, how it's been designed in terms of the size and width, the padding, border, all of that stuff. Okay, so this is a little bit of an FYI as you start to optimize your site. Okay, I'll go over to Firefox now. Here's Firefox in the same company, HDRI. Right click, Inspect Elements, same nomenclature. Okay, click it, and there's a little different, but basically it's the same concept. Okay, so you can preview how other people are organizing and designing their site in both HTML code as well as visibility. Okay, all right. Okay, so with that said, let's talk a little more about how to optimize your site for the web. So if you designed it for the web, you got ideas, it's live, or at least you've tested it live, it's working. I usually save the optimization at the very end. I like to spend more of my time designing it, the look and feel, working hard and getting the images optimized and placed in Dreamweaver, and making sure everything is linked properly. So for your final, when I grade all these, we want to make sure that everything works, right? All of the links are going to work. If you have links to Facebook or Twitter, they must link to Facebook or Twitter, okay? And a lot of sites have them. Some sites don't have them, others do. It depends on what the maker or manufacturer is trying to promote. So let's get into Dreamweaver. Let's talk about search engine optimization. So search engines are using basically text information to categorize you or to rank you. All right. So if you go on a website and you say, for example, your business is it's like a pedigree for animals, for dogs or cats or something like that. And they put in the name of your business. Where is your business going to be ranked compared to everybody else? So search engines are going to scour the internet and they're going to look at several things. One is your images. Okay. Now with all of this, I should say, artificial intelligence going on. Now they're trying to get the search engines or the intelligence to look at the images, but basically where it really ranks you is in your text. One important aspect of text, at least that's always been the case since the creation of the web, is using alternative text or alt tags or alt text, and those are tags placed in place of your images. For example, for some reason one of your images are corrupted, they don't come up on the web, you'll see an alt tag in its place. Okay, now every one of your images has to be titled with an alternative tag, right? And where do we actually accomplish that in Dreamweaver? So if I target my gallery 1, so this is my front page, okay, and if I go to my banner image, right? The rule is that your alt tag should be very short and simple, just a simple description of what it is that image represents. So if you have something like, let's see if I've got something here in front of you. Let's go back over here. Here's a website, Pet Finder. Okay. So if you have an image of a black lab, right, that alt text will be black lab or black lab dog. Okay, something descriptive that's going to rank your web page amongst all the other web pages that have anything or everything to do with animals or pedigree of animals. Okay, all right, so let's go back into Dreamweaver. All right, now this is my image. Now what I'll do, but this is going to be my banner image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to target that image, just clicking on it. Right down here in your properties panel, let's go ahead and target those. Okay, right down here in your properties panel, you have alt. Okay, this is where your alt tags go. So I'm going to highlight it, and we're going to call this one, and I'm going to call this one Chrome Illusion, the name of my site, banner, and that's it. That's pretty much it. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and there it is. So as the search engine scours through the site looking for the Chrome Illusion website, or images associated with my Chrome Illusion website, it's going to find this image. Now if I come down to here and click on the gallery 1 image, so here it says target image, going to gallery 1, I'm going to make it specific. So I will call this one Chrome Illusion gallery 1. Okay, and then hit enter. Okay, we're done. You don't want a long string of text, very short, very simple, and that'll do. And I'll do the same thing for the next one. I'll probably do to save time, copy this, Command C, go to the next one, go to the alt tags, paste it, and then change this to 2, and do the same thing for 3, 4, and 5, and so forth. So every image on this page. The next thing that your search engines are going to look for. So remember, keep in mind that pretty much it's looking for text. It's going through all your HTML code and it's looking for anything and everything having to do with the very search word that you put in the search engine, like Google search engine or Bing search engine, whichever you choose to use. It's going to look through your entire text of your HTML code to find out, who you are, and if that person who puts in a search string is going to correlate to your particular website. Okay, so we talked about the images. Now let's talk about the name of the page. Every page has to be named. Okay, so this is the front page. So right over here under title, and that's right next to alt here, I'm going to click the title of the page. And actually, what you need, what helps, I find, is clicking on the actual page itself. Okay, I'm going to click here, and so clicking on the page right down here in the bottom, you see document title. Okay, so this is going to be the Chromeillusion home page. Now I'm typing in Chromeillusion because that's the name of my site, and with that as part of the search string, the search engine is going to pick it up quicker. So I'm going to call this Chromeillusion home page. Okay, or maybe reverse it. All right, so it sees home page. I'm going to just cut it out, put it in front of Chromeillusion, then Chromeillusion, homepage Chromeillusion. Okay, so you can use that as well. So there's your title of your pages, you have your images, and one last thing about the images, I actually forgot to mention. Chromeillusion banner, that's your alt text, and you have right over here the title of that. Okay, so go ahead and put in the title of this, and it can be the same as what you put in the alt text as well. I mean, I would switch it up and add another key term. Maybe what I'll do is I'll call this one fine art banner. Okay, and then hit enter. So we have your alt text here, and we also have a little title. In the future, if I'm going to be naming any images, maybe the actual image that I'm going to be using or my artwork will have an actual name to it that will go under the title, and then of course the alt text will have something that's going to be relating to my particular website. So if I come down here, we'll do another one, and we go to click on Gallery 1, Chromeillusion Gallery 1. Maybe what I will do is give this a name, Digital Ecstasy, which is the actual name of the art piece. Digital Ecstasy. And then afterwards, Gallery 1. To designate, or better yet, Digital Ecstasy Thumb Gallery 1. To designate that this is a thumbnail. Okay. All right. There we go. And we're going to do this for every single one of the images on my page. Okay. The other place, which is very, very important, is adding keywords to each of your pages. Okay. And these keywords can be repetitive from page after page after page. You want to put as much information about that page that you think the search engine is going to want to use to rank you as number one. Now, in Dreamweaver, to apply keywords, you go up here to Insert. You scroll down here to HTML. And then right down the middle, we have keywords. And if I click this, this is where you're going to put your keywords. So we're going to put in keywords like Photoshop. Okay. Now I'm keeping everything lowercase because I don't think it's going to matter, but we'll keep it lowercase. Comma. We're going to separate it with a comma. Photoshop. Digital. Man, we're thinking about every single word that we think a search engine might use. Next, digital art. Next, photo. Next, Stephen Burns. Or we'll say Stephen. Then we'll say Burns. Then we'll say Stephen Burns. Oops, that was a dot in there. I want a comma. And spell my last name correctly, of course. Really important. Stephen Burns. Now let's put in Stephen space Burns. Okay. Maybe also my full name with my middle initial, Stephen M. Burns. And we put in Chrome Illusion. Okay. And we'll put in here that's specific to this page, front page. Okay, and let's see what else we can put in here. I'll put in here digital paint or digital painting. So anything that relates to me as an artist or specific to this particular page. All right, all done. Click OK. And that is pretty much it. This is what you're going to be doing this week. You should be able to do this in a day. So I'll just give you a week deadline on it, but keep in mind that you've got to, it's not. I will not take off points if you don't have it in on time. Just have it in before the class ends. Once again, so you're going to optimize your site for SEO, search engine optimization. So just to talk about it very quickly, you're going to target your images. You're going to give them an alt tag. In addition, you're going to give them a title for every one of your images. Next, you're going to give your page, right down here, your document page here, a title that's going to relate to that particular page. Then you're going to go into your insert HTML keywords and put in keywords, okay? Okay, so if I'm going to do one more for you real quick before we actually go. I'm going to go to Gallery 1. This is my Gallery 1 page where I'm going to have my my carousel placed inside, okay? Now, if I go to the top here, okay, we need to put our alt tag here for all the images in here, but this page, this particular document page right here, we're going to call this one Gallery 2. Okay, so that'll be Gallery 2, document title, and I'll probably go ahead and put on here Chrome Illusion. Okay. Then for this page, what I can do is I can go back to the index page. I'm gonna go back to the index real quick. We'll go to my insert and my HTML, and we'll go to my keywords. All right. So here is kind of important because copy those keywords. Okay, I'm gonna save this. Copy those keywords. Save this again. And this is index, and just so I'm going to go ahead and save that there. Okay, so I would take a Word doc. This is just good planning here, and we're going to type in our keywords. So I could even make a heading. Let's go homepage. Okay, and then in the home page, you're going to put in things like Stephen Burns and comma and Stephen and so forth, just as I showed you earlier. So Stephen dash Burns dash art dash digital art dash digital painting okay dash photo, not dash but comma. I keep saying dash here, but I mean comma. So comma photo, and I'm going to go ahead and put photography. Okay, and I just thought of another one, compositing. The next one, I'm going to put in digital compositing, digital art, and I believe I did put in art already. Okay, there we go. So home page, and then you can go down to your internal pages. So for example, I'll just put in internal pages because they're all going to probably have the same search words based in there, with an exception of the title of the page. So internal pages. Okay, and then I'll probably I'm going to give this a little space here. Okay, just copy and paste all these. You don't need a whole lot of keywords. It's just the way of just staying organized. And then, of course, my internal pages is going to be gallery 1 or 2, or whichever that page is going to be. That's probably going to be one of the main descriptions, or for the keywords in there to separate that page from everything else. All right, so I think you get the point. Just so keep your keywords in the Word doc, save your Word doc so you can just copy and paste it as you need. Okay, so we added our text or keywords to the page. You can copy and paste it from Microsoft Word. However, what if you want to go edit this text again? Let's say if we go back to our view menu, we go to our, not view menu, but our insert menu. Let's go back to our HTML and come over here to keywords. And then you notice that, hey, there's no keywords here, right? Well, it'll allow me to add, but it's not going to allow me to edit it in Dreamweaver. In order to edit in Dreamweaver, you have to go directly to your code view. So what I will do is I'll come over here to split. Now, of course, keep in mind that all of this I'm doing in design view and instead of live view. So keep that in mind. Could I do it in a live view? I think I still can. But I feel more comfortable editing all of this in design view. Because that way it's not running any Java content while I'm actually trying to do any type of editing. So if I go to the split view here and hit this here, we're going to go look for our keywords, okay? And let's go start at the top here. And there they are, right there. Under meta name equals keywords, and in quotes, content equals, and in quotes, there are my keywords all right there. So if you want to add anything to it, this is where you would add in there. Maybe I'll add in photography. Okay, so this is where you would edit your keyword text right there in that particular line of code. Okay, so that's pretty much it for you guys to do in terms of optimizing your websites for SEO. So what I want you to do is, when all done, when this is all complete, everything's linked. So keep in mind, I want your everything to be linked and working with your website on your server, because I'll go to your server to check it. But what I want you to do is I want you to zip your entire web document or your entire website and then upload it for your homework assignment. In other words, if I go over to Windows Explorer, I'm going to do this outside of Dreamweaver, and this is important. You can only do this outside of Dreamweaver. I'll go to my websites. Let's go find it there. I will go over to my Chromolution Responsive, and I made a new folder called Test 3. This is my entire website that I've done for the class. So I will select all of this, right click, and I'm going to add to archive. Well, I'm using RAR, RAR, or WinZip, your choice. So you can zip it up, or you can use the RAR and use zip as an option. I'll target add to archive, use zip, okay? Don't use R, just stick to zip. It'll call it test 3 as I target OK, and there's my zip file right there, test 03 zip. So if I double click on it, I can extract it, download it to my system, and test out your website. Okay, and I can inspect everything to make sure all of your code is in there properly. Okay, now if you don't have WinZip or RAR, it's free. Okay, go online. I'll just put in RAR. RAR is a good one. I like RAR. WinRAR is free. So download. Here's a free download right there. So winrar.com. Click it and download it here, which is right there to the right actually. So if I click on it, you can download it and then install it. There you are. So that when you go to your Explorer, I can target any number of files or any one file, right click. It'll show up in my right click option to add to archive. Okay. I believe Macintoshes have a similar way to zip things up, but use WinZip. So it's a .zip file, so I can access it. Okay, I think that is going to do it this week. After this week, we're going to get into alternative ways of creating a website. Now you've already created all your images, you created your coding. Now we're going to just keep what you've got, and we're going to repurpose it for using other platforms like WordPress, and there are other Adobe products that we're going to get into to help you to design your website even further.